Hey everyone, just going to give a quick market update on what's happening with the crypto markets and where Bitcoin is going to go, as well as probably talk a little bit about altcoins and where we're going to think those are going to head out. Um, but yeah, so just a quick market update on where Bitcoin's at. This is where we're at right now. Currently, this is like the fear and greed index, right? This basically just reflects the sentiment of the market. If the market feels greedy, if it's fearful, etc. We were able to actually predict this move. If you watched the previous video, we saw that we were able to predict this move from 70K all the way down to 59K, 60K, right? So we were able to successfully predict that using a bunch of indicators. And so now the question is, where are we headed at now? In previous videos, we are talking about how I still think that it's going to go to the 50K, maybe 40K level if something really bad happens. But right now, what we're seeing in the weekly time frame is Bitcoin's just hanging around at this level, right? So this trading view, we looked at this last time, and drawing these bars, we were able to say that, okay, the low will probably be around October, late October, right? Mid to late October. So here, right now, the low is saying October 12. So that's where we're seeing the low. But where are we seeing the price move right now, right? So this, the Bitcoin chart, and the weekly, we're still pretty low. We're here at 63K. And actually, this middle band of the Bollinger, as well as the simple moving average and exponential moving average, this is around 69 to 72K. So theoretically, Bitcoin can move up all the way to 71K, and we can still be in a downtrend, right? If you're following these charts every day, it's very easy to be swept up with the recovery rallies or counter trend rallies, right? So if we just look at, for example, the past 3 months, actually, if we just look at the past 7 days, right, we dropped to 62K in June 19, but now we're all the way back up to 64, 63K. And even if we go further, right, the 1 month, the major drop was 60K in June 6, and now we're at 64K. So that amount of time, if you've been following that amount of time, you're going to start to feel like, oh yeah, we were already at 60K, 59K. This is already kind of a good recovery, right? And this is kind of playing out in the fear and greed index, right? So if we look at the past few weeks, the 6-month time frame, right? You can see that when we crashed to the 60K level, right, and now we're trending up, fear and greed and sentiment is slowly going up, right? So if we're following these charts every day and seeing the chart go up, you would start to feel more complacent, more greedy that, oh yeah, maybe that was the low because, for like 2-3 weeks now, the price has been going up. But I'd just like to caution you from playing into that emotional trap because most of the time, if you zoom out, these are just normal market movements, right? So if you look at this, for example, in the weekly view, we're still down in the weekly view to 63K. And even if we went all the way back up to 70K, that will like spike everyone's emotions, but it would still technically be in a downtrend, right? We've been in a downtrend since September 25, right? So it's easy to get swept up in these things. Don't fall for these emotional traps. And always look at like the larger trend and where we're going. So that's what I'm seeing with the price of Bitcoin, where we can see probably a pump even to 70K and we would still be in a downtrend. When we're looking at the daily, so this is the weekly view. If we're looking at the daily view, we're actually already hitting the middle and top line, right? We're contracting here. So this is probably going to have a slight move up or down soon. Looking at the weekly view, it'll probably move slightly up, but I'm not sure. I mean, we're not really trading these small movements, right? So, but usually it does end up meeting these lines when it's at the bottom. Right. So in the next few weeks, this is probably going to make a slight move. We'll probably see the fear and greed index move a bit, and that doesn't change any of the previous analysis that we did, right? So looking at this will still probably bottom in October, and the reason why we think that again is if we look at, for example, historical risk levels, right? Right now we are at just look at 6 months. Right now we are at the 0.32 level, right? But if we zoom out historically, past 10 years, we've been hitting these 0.3 levels quite a lot. And this kind of looks like there is a downtrend, right? So the tops are getting smaller here, and it looks like we're getting lower each cycle. So probably we would end up retesting the 0.2 level, right? But in my last video, this is still a good time to accumulate. I have personally like 20% of what I want in Bitcoin right now, but I am expecting it to go lower. So that's why I have not all in. So I do think that it's okay to have some exposure right now, but seeing as how we're still up here at 0.32, and usually it does retest. So even here in the previous levels where it hit the 0.3 level, it does tend to go back down again there multiple times, right? So I don't think that's going to be the end. I think we're going to have another move downwards. And even if we look at the drawdowns, so here we're looking at the drawdowns of Bitcoin. We can see, for example, the last cycle, the in this 10-year view, you can see the bottom 2 cycles ago was at negative 83%. So it went down 83% on the rolling 1-year view. And last cycle, it went down minus 73% in the rolling 1-year view. Right now, we're only at minus 51% in the rolling 1-year view. So there's still a huge difference between these 2 cycles. And if we do say that there's diminishing losses, right? So we just say minus 83 or 82. This is minus 75, right? So from 83 to 75, that's like an 8-point difference, right? If we have another 8-point difference from that cycle to now, we would expect this to bottom at around 68% drawdown or 67% drawdown, right? And if the top was 25K, that will put us at around 39 or 40K. If we look at the Bitcoin risk levels, this is also kind of what it's saying, the zeroth risk, the lowest risk possible is at 40K. So a lot of these indicators are like converging or having like confluence at certain levels. So that's why I don't think it's the bottom yet. And even if we were to go all the way up to 68K, 70K, be prepared for that, psychologically, that will be a lot. The fear index would probably spike, but even if that were to happen, we would still probably be in a downtrend. Yeah, so basically that's where we're at. We had a big, kind of crash at the start of June, at June 6th. We were at 60K, 59K. We went up. Now we're just like kind of consolidating into this region. I think when we hit this middle band, something is going to happen, probably break up or down. Either way, I think macro-wise, we're still far away, or not really far away. We're pretty near the low, but I don't think we're in the low yet, right? So what does that mean about altcoins, right? So usually Bitcoin is the first mover in this space. When Bitcoin moves, everything moves with it. So just keep that in mind. A lot of the altcoin indicators are pretty low, meaning that a lot of these altcoins do seem like they're low. But the reason why I haven't been buying into these moves yet is because Bitcoin is the first mover. If Bitcoin is going to fall, everything's going to fall, period. And because of that, I haven't put any exposure into these altcoins yet. So for example, ETH, when you look at the backtested version of ETH is really low. It's already at like the 0.06 level. And if you look at these models, they usually break, So for example, if you look at this price model, this should be a smooth line, but it should be a smooth line like this. But the backtested values are actually using the value at that point in time. So when these lines change, that means the model is like breaking, and the new data is like showing new values at where the thing is. If you look at Bitcoin, for example, this hasn't really happened on the downside. It usually breaks like the top prediction, right? So here, the top prediction, it like broke the line and broke it. But the cycle has been pretty tame. It's been mostly inside of these lines. Yeah, so that's why I think that, Bitcoin's still gonna fall. But if you look at altcoins again, so for example, ETH, I don't really consider ETH an alt, but I think it's more like an index for the altcoin. ETH is the biggest thing other than Bitcoin. And so a lot of the altcoins are actually gonna behave similar to when ETH starts pumping, right? If ETH starts pumping, all these other things will start pumping. And if it dumps, all these other things are gonna dump. So, there's like a line or a sequence to all of these things. And, with ETH, if you look at the ETH price, it already kind of broke these these previous lows in the model. Last time we broke it actually 4 times. So for example, there's this slight break in this model. There's another break here, there's another break here, then there's another break here. So 4 times. Right now we've broken it 3 times. So if we were like going off operationally of the last cycle, and seeing that we're predicting Bitcoin going down more, ETH might break this model a 4th time. Yeah, so I haven't scaled in ETH. The last time I bought ETH actually was over here, maybe over here. Yeah, the last time I bought ETH was over here at like 1600. So I didn't miss I missed 1500 over a bit. So I bought ETH at 1600. I thought that was a pretty good buy though, because like it was like moving up. But now we're back down in the risk level. So yeah, we're back to where I bought it like a year ago. So it's pretty hard to time these things, but I mean, I haven't lost money, which is a good thing, right? Yeah, so basically for alts, I what I'm seeing is if Bitcoin goes down, all these things are going to go down with it. But I think we're pretty near. So another chart I look at is the versus comparison. This kind of looks at each asset and like weighs it against each other. So if we just look at ETH, for example, against Bitcoin. Yeah, so if you look at ETH against Bitcoin, this is what the chart looks like. You can see that there's negative momentum here, right? Yeah, so it looks like there's negative momentum, and if it does go back down here, that's probably where I consider buying ETH and other alts again. I did buy it around back here at 16K, 16K, sorry, 1,600 ETH, and that's why I bought it, because it was quite low at that time. So if it does reach back down here, I think that's why I'm going to consider buying ETH and other alts as well. But yeah, right now it doesn't seem like this is the move that we're playing. The versus comparison of ETH is in a downward trend. Bitcoin looks like it's still in a downward trend. And so with all these things aligning and consolidating, I don't really think that it's a good time to buy. So yeah, that's the market update. TLDR, I think Bitcoin's consolidating right now. We can go all the way up to 70K, and it'll still be a downtrend. Alts are pretty low in terms of their historical values, but if Bitcoin falls, they're gonna fall. So I'm pausing that. If in a month or two, I think like late August maybe, this in late August maybe, if this Ethereum thing falls in the versus comparisons, then I'll start consider buying alts. Yeah, and basically that's it with this market update. Yeah, just hold on tight, guys. Markets are hard to navigate. But yeah, if you like this video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.